We stay with the subject of predictive insight as his last words. Today's world is often about learning more about users and possibly building audiences for advertising platforms. Now, 1plusX has taken these approaches a couple of steps further and uses machine learning techniques to define predictive audiences. Exactly that. We are now happy to hear something from Dr. Jürgen Galler. He's the CEO at 1plusX in Switzerland, and Roger Gatti, Vision Team Impact there, they will share use cases with you and a couple of questions afterwards. Okay?
Excellent. Thank you very much. So we're on. Yeah, thank you very much, Greg. Actually, I think this was a fantastic bridge to our presentations. So I couldn't agree more. I think platforms are here to help the customers. Platforms are here, in this case, in our case, as a data management, a predictive data management platform to take care of your data, make the most out of your data, and give the power of the results, the predictions, into your hands. I think that is really crucial. So 1plusX, we are a company operating out of Switzerland. We are pretty much a data technology company. We have built a new generation of data management platform. Why have we done that? We have been working, the founders have been working at Google for many years. I've been running YouTube for Europe for many years, web search for Europe for many years. And we have realized after we actually left Google in order to do other things, how poor publishers, generally actually digital companies, not just publishers, digital companies here in Europe are using their data, are operating their data. We believe there is absolutely more to this. The technology is there. If you bring it together into a nice product, everybody can use these technologies and take advantage of them. What do? We basically use artificial intelligence, as Greg also mentioned, to convert your data, your users' digital interaction data into valuable assets. We look at user profiles. We calculate user profiles for you, fully compliant with European data regulation. We calculate what we call item profiles. Those can be articles, those can be ad campaigns, and we look at the interaction of those users and items. We predict interactions between users and items with a really impressive result. We're going to show you our product, our platform throughout this presentation. Roger, our head of product, who is then later on joining me on stage, is going to give you that presentations. Why is this important? I think if you listened to the presentation of Greg, you know why it is important. You need to convert your data into a valuable asset, and you need a platform or even multiple platforms to help you doing that. We're going to show you how that works. So what is our approach? Our approach pretty much is that we use your unstructured data. By the way, we always work for each customer, concentrating on the data and the value for this customer. We are not mixing up data with other customers unless both customers agree to each other, but actually we just work for you. We use your unstructured data. We have our own data collection technology, tracking technology, but we actually also use your structured data. We integrate with your ad server, with your content management system. We actually use your CRM system if you have one. We use third-party data if you need third-party data, for example, for cross-device detection or for location detection. We then combine this data, put it into our predictive engine, calculate socio-demographic profiles, user profiles for every single user that you see. So it's not like a classical DMP where you only get lists of third-party providers. We actually, every single user that shows up at your digital asset, at your publication, is being converted into a profile. And what we then do is we give every single attribute of that user a value, a confidence score. So, we can say if a person is, for example, female or male. For some people, we can do a better judging. Our algorithm does a better judging because we saw more events. We might have CRM data and so on. For others, we will not. But we actually predict it for everyone. So we give a confidence score where if somebody is more female or more male, we also do that for interest categories and other sections. There's already a real innovation in the market, in the data management market. I'm going to explain you a bit more in the next steps. What we also do, what I already explained, we look at item profiles, in this case, for example, an ad campaign. We then predict future interactions of users with these items. So if you have campaigns, if you sell advertising, and you have certain advertisers, we can actually already now tell you which campaign is likely to show what kind of interaction, which audience is likely to show what kind of interaction with those campaign elements. That is a huge boost for ad reseller marketers. That's also a large client base of ours. We just started a large deal with Axel Springer Media Impact here in Berlin. So as I pointed out, items can be universal. So in this case, for example, they can now be news articles. So if you have articles, we can predict which of your audience is likely to interact with what specific article, even before the article is actually published. So just by looking at the raw article, we can do that kind of prediction. We use a lot of machine learning for that. So machine learning is our core, and we're pretty proud about the achievements that we have there. So in this presentation now, we will show you two real-life use cases. One for audience building for advertising, so pretty much our core business, and the next one for predictive audiences for content monetization. What Greg mentioned, if you want to find subscribers, if you want to find people that actually kind of buy commerce offerings that you have interwoven into your articles, that's exactly the kind of technology that gives you the channel to the right audience. Let me start with explaining you how current data management platforms that are in the market operate. So currently a data management platform operates in a way where you say like, I have a campaign, I define, or the advertiser defines the audience, I want to reach females interested in food, and I need to activate them on my ad server X. So you actually put that, you go to your DMP, you look at different lists that you have there. You buy list A from provider B. You buy a list from provider C. Provider A gives you gender data. Another unit gives you actually kind of insights, which users has visited food-related websites. And then you look at how many of those you find on your ad server that you're using, Google, AppNexus, whatever. At the end, the output is rather generally very low. So as soon as you start bringing together different lists, the output is low, and that's disappointing. Why is that? Because generally all these lists don't match to each other. They might come from different providers. You also don't have a real insights into the quality of these lists. So generally, this really needs innovation. That's what we do. We bring in innovation. We actually ingest all the data, and then we calculate it up. We predict from that data the socio-demographic attributes and interest intent attributes of all these users. We put them in these metrics that are already explained, and then you can decide how much femaleness, how much food interest you want. You can actually do this reach to quality trade-off that our algorithm has handled for you. We will see that Roger will give a short demo about this just in a minute. So I hand over to Roger to actually kind of show you the product live.
So good morning. So let's have a look into our platform. So after login, essentially, you come to our dashboard where you have the overview of all the calculated user profiles. Now, this is currently running now on a demo account with 3 million profiles. Of course, normally our customers have many more profiles and essentially larger accounts. What you essentially see here are the socio-demographic attributes. These have been calculated using the 1plusX machine learning technology. All these widgets here are configurable. So for instance, if you care about your own age buckets, about your own income segments, or even about your own interest taxonomy, we can actually calculate your own taxonomies. All these widgets are also fully configurable, so you can click actually on any bar and you would immediately get some further insights. So as an example, let me click into female. So by this, actually, I make a selection, already kind of building an audience. And additionally, I select food. That's a food interest. So now I've selected kind of all females with food interest. And you can immediately drill down into the data and get additional insights. For instance, here, this is now based on Swiss data. You recognize that females interested into food, they tend to have a high income. So you can drill down here and get the insights actually you want. Now, the good thing is actually that you can create directly an audience from this configuration simply by pushing that button, create an audience. At this time, it actually asks me, do I really want to create an audience? And you actually are forwarded to our audience builder, where you could actually just define a name for the audience. I quickly do that. And this view actually allows you to customize your audience, to fine-tune it, to make a quality reach trade-off. So you see some sliders. Here you can adjust to your needs. So for instance, if gender is super important, you can actually increase the precision and so on. Also, you can choose and add additional attributes, and you can actually activate your channel wherever your target system is. Is it DBM, DFP, or an article serving system? Even more interesting is actually you can directly go into the Audience Explorer. You also see that the tags are created, and now, for instance, if you like to increase the reach, you can simply click on those arrows, and if you look at the number of profiles by increasing the reach, you see immediately that the number of profiles actually increases until the moment where you're actually satisfied and you get the reach you want. Finally, when your audience is fine-tuned and you can get a lot of more insights about what to expect from the audience, the domains the user have been seeing, freshness, you can see the number of events, so you have a good expectation about what your audience will bring you once it's productive. And then when you're satisfied, basically, you can save the audience and return to what we call the audience manager. This is basically an overview where you can manage your audience, you can assign tags, you can share your audience across the enterprise, you can clone the audience, and you can further fine-tune or change the activation channel. With this, I'm handing over back to Jürgen.
Very much, Roger. So actually, kind of, we just did a live demo. We are a product company. That's why we, like to do live demos. I think that's important. We basically have weekly pushes, so we really innovate a lot around our product. What Roger just showed is how easy it is to explore your data, your users, how easy it is to configure an audience, and actually that audience is then pushed to whatever advertising platform you use. So let's go more into predictive audiences for content monetization. Here we use machine learning to really predict the likelihood of interaction between an audience and articles, in this example, or ad campaigns. How does this work? So first, we actually take what we call a seed audience. We look at the interaction of this seed audience with historical items that we have seen. We use a lot of different signals in doing that. We use, obviously, item interaction, historical item interaction. We use, as Greg also pointed out in his speech, language setting on browsers, time of interaction. In countries where IP addresses are allowed, we use IP addresses, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of data in there that is used to really produce this insightful machine learning. Once we have done the seed audience creation, we actually turn and manage the audience on an hourly rate. So a couple of hours, depending on the level of interactions, we generate a new audience, we refresh the audience, we keep it fresh, and by doing that, we actually produce real improvements. So depending on what improvements the audience was built for, if it's about subscription, if it's about advertising, if it's about content, page view generation, and so on, we actually keep that into consideration when we optimize this audience. So the audience is actually built in a backend and is continuously fed, updated into your real-time system. So what is the methodology behind it? I already mentioned machine learning. I just wanted to outline, if we, for example, look at an article, we have a huge, what we call, company net, publisher net, where a multidimensional space, where we put all the users and we put all these items, and by the vicinity of a user to an item, we can actually predict the likelihood of interaction. So every user gets in our model a score for each single article, right? So if you have, let's say, 1,000 articles, 100,000 articles, doesn't matter. The more articles, the better, actually. And we give every single user a score of his likelihood to interact with this article. And we then can group these users together. So if you say, oh, I have this article or this article group, and now I would like to have 100,000 users that have a high likelihood to actually interact with this article, we can simply find that very quickly in real time, and we can produce that. Also, we can compare articles with other articles. So if you want to say like, hey, I want to find a similar article of article A, we can immediately find those articles because that's all kept in our main memory. So result-wise, what we can see is that our article produces, after a first iteration, close to 200% improvements on click-through. Click-through in this case would be, you see, let's say, an article thumbnail on a landing page, and then you have 20 different articles there, a typical setup, and now you want to get people to click on a specific article. If you use our predictive audience, we increase the click-through rate by 200% and even more. So I don't want to go into super details here. If you're interested in learning more about this, just stay around after the presentation, and we can actually kind of give you more details. I want to hand over again to Roger for continuing the product demo. He's now going to show how we built such a predictive audience.
Sure, thank you, Jürgen. So let's switch to the item section. So in this example, these items are all articles. You see they have a name, they have certain attributes. Also here, basically it's all configurable and customizable to fit your needs. So let's now search for one specific article. I choose here this one. This one I actually would like to show you how easy and frictionless it is actually to create a predictive audience. So remember, what does it mean, predictive audience? Actually, it means find the best candidates for an article, find the best audience for an article, identify those users where the likelihood is actually highest that they're going to interact with this article. So I have here an action which allows me to create a predictive audience. Again, just enter a name for it, for 10 best. I can actually also here configure the reach, so the audience basically matches my expectations. I can even create a test audience for A/B, so basically that means you have full control. You can activate the predictive audience, you can activate your control audience, and you can compare it in terms of performance. So I create here the new audience, and you see our machine learning technology now starts processing the audience, and it will soon be available. Of course, just mentioned that you need to have full control over the performance. So let me search now for another item. Let me search for design here. And now we have a feature called article performance. And if you go here on this chart, you actually see exactly how this article performs along the conversion funnel. So you see the impressions the article got, you see the clicks, and you see the conversions, for instance, if you are into content monetization. But what's really actually cool, if you scroll down, you see exactly the audience who interacted with this article. So this is about the past interactions. And you can actually use these for retargeting. You also see the click-through rate over time. If I had chosen an A/B test audience, I could even compare the performance of the predictive audience with your test audience. And with one click, actually, you can use this for retargeting. Immediately, you can create new audiences and do further campaigns or article recommendations right here. With this, I hand back to Jürgen for the summary.
Thank you very much, Roger. So that was actually the last product demo, live demo for now. I really want to step over and give you a quick summary on this. So we are actually, as we already stated at the beginning, we are a predictive data management platform. So DMPs have been around for a while. I think one of the mistakes of DMPs is that they either go too niche into just serving advertising purposes or just serving, let's say, content purposes. They are not generalistic enough. They don't really make usage of the data, so they don't convert data into value. They just store and they just help you to move it from A to B. And I think they also don't focus enough on their customers. As Greg pointed out, I think if you really get such a platform, you have to focus on making it work for you. We do weekly meetings with our customers to really ensure that our platform is used, is productionized, is actually kind of creating value for our customers. So what is the value that we can create? First of all, advertising targeting, we already pointed that out. You get higher reach, controllable quality, everything in your hands, under your control. Secondly, we actually can offer content commerce technologies or predictive audiences that has a high likelihood to convert either into subscriptions or into commerce elements that you have in your native advertising or your articles. Third, we actually can help you with content recommendations. So we are a, let's say, really general recommendation engine. You plug our audience into your content management system, and you have a really powerful content recommendation engine that also can be used to optimize content based on subscription conversions, based on advertising targets that you need. And last but not least, we actually give you user insights. I think that is something really important. That's something I already learned at Google. If you don't understand your users, if you don't understand who clicks, who actually converts, who comes back, and so on, then you're in a really bad shape. So user insights is part of the data management platform. We show you user actions along the funnel. We give you actually value for your data. We put the power back into your fingertips. Thank you very much. Thanks, Roger. Thank you, Greg, for introducing us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Quite challenging for me.
Okay.
Due to one reason, I want to share my question with you in a second. But any question from you? Or are you ready for coffee? Okay, if so, you're
Well,
more than welcome
fair.
now.
That's unfair.
But it's a coffee
You're ready
pause
for
now.
coffee.
It's a coffee pause now. One question. Your paying model, your business model, is it based on your prediction work? And then it's done, you say plus 200%. This is what you predict, for example, as success. Or is it based on the real success, what then happened afterwards? Or is your job just done by predicting and then they have to see what,
No, we are absolutely happy to actually get incentivized by the real success afterwards. So we have those kind of setups. However, several of our customers, or the majority of our customers, wants a flat model because they want to use this data, as I pointed out, either for advertising, for content recommendations, and so on and so forth. But if we have a very clear use case and we say, like, look, it depends on the success, then we are absolutely happy to go into the risk together with our with the customers.
Okay. Talking about change in the near future, what do you think this is going to develop further into? Any ideas of the next step? Or this is going to broaden or to deepen or whatever? Yeah.
Sure. I mean, like, you know, we have heard a lot about artificial intelligence here at the conference. I think we're still somehow at the beginnings. One thing is to predict something like using machine learning to really do predictions. The other thing is to then really put those predictions into action. Right? So I think what we need in order to really make this work, we need a full ecosystem that is, let's say, partly automated, where we do this prediction, content management system picks them up, really converts them, uses key metrics that are set by the editorial team. I want this, that. So then I think that's gonna revolutionize the way I think publishing is done. At least from my technical perspective and from my ex-Google product head perspective. But I think we still need a lot of ecosystem parts to come together. That's why we also integrated our platform so nicely. I think it's going to change the way publishers are actually thinking about audience and are thinking about what to show to whom and how to actually convert subscriptions. It's going to automate that quite a lot.
And if I listen to you, I think how is the job, not only the job of a journalist, but the education to become journalists, publishers, etc. How is this going to change in the future?
Well, absolutely. I mean, like, we are being invited to teaching events and so on. I think, I'm not a journalist at all, so I have absolutely total respect towards publishing and journalism, so it's not on me to actually judge how that should be done. We're just the data guys, we're the product guys, but I mean, we're happy to share data insights, product insights with people. I mean, we have a lot of data scientists in our team, a lot of engineers. I think every journalist in the future might actually, at least need to understand what are these systems doing, how am I creating value, how easy is it to use them. We make it I think we make it very easy to use, but hopefully, we can still progress and assist.
I had an interview 3 weeks ago with Michael Dell from Dell Company, from the computer company, and he said, at the end I said, what should the jobs of my kids be in the future? What would you put a finger on? And he said, data science, data science, data science.
Oh,
go there too.
Okay.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And enjoy your coffee.